Hi everyone, this is Baisakhi, and today I'm here with a very interesting person. Her name is Jacqueline Sanderlin, and I call her Dr. Jackie. I met her in Los Angeles, and I found out that she does all these amazing things, and I told her, why don't we talk about our work and especially what she does and how that can impact a huge mass of people in following their hearts, pursuing their dreams, getting creative in life, and things like that. So instead of me introducing her to you, I would let her introduce herself so she can tell you better about who she is and what she does before we proceed with this conversation. So, Dr. Jackie,
Yes.
thank you so much for being with me here, and I'm so honored to meet you and to be here at your place interviewing you. And uh, it's been such a pleasure conversing with you the last few days, and I really want people to know what you do because you are so amazing and your work is so beautiful, especially the thing that you do about communities because nowadays we lack that sense of community, and you travel the world instilling this idea of community among people. So I would like you to tell our audience about your work and how you help people follow their dreams.
Well, thank you. First of all, I just want to thank you, Shaki, because this is more than I expected when you came over. I mean, I just feel like every day we've really blossomed and our work kind of aligns.
Yes.
And so, what I do, first of all, hello, everybody. And what I do is I'm a community engagement coach. And so, what that means, I'm an educator first, and I've always been an educator. I've been a principal, started off as a teacher, special education teacher. I've been a curriculum director and developer. And I've worked all of my career in under-resourced communities, which led me to the work that I do now. And so for all of those years, which was about 20 years, I spent working with, I call them scholars. I know you've heard them as students, but I call them scholars. I always have, because I felt like if you speak into the life of them, then they would rise to that occasion. And so I've learned to call them scholars. But those scholars had challenges. And the challenges were those that I hadn't even experienced as a young person myself. And I mean foster youth challenges, homeless challenges, low income poverty, deep poverty. And so with that being said, we also had minimal resources as a school district.
Right.
And so I felt the need, or really the mission, and it was almost deafening because every day I got up and said, what can I do? What can I do differently? Because something needs to be done. Not so much because it was charity, absolutely different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what they deserved.
Mm-hmm.
And so that meant I had to do something different, which was go out into my community and embrace the community, meet people, and I started meeting business owners and companies and corporations, and that led to philanthropists, all who had the same vision that I did, that I didn't know.
Wow, wow. So you found all these connections and through your work, and you've been doing this for 20 years, right?
20 years, but each single year I
Mm-hmm.
learned something different.
Wow.
And
Wow.
one of the things I learned this year was that it's not so much that people also want to, but it's a part of their work as well.
Right.
One of the things that many corporations want to do and have to do actually is engage the community.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a very interesting area that you work on because I know, like, especially in developed countries like this, where we are at,
Yeah.
I see so much of loneliness and separation among people, this feeling of isolation, and that makes people get into a lot of addictions and things like that. And in this kind of society, when you try to build community, like, I would like to know how exactly you do that. Like, do you bring like-minded people together, or you find a common purpose, and then you help people build a community around it. Like, how exactly do you inspire people to do this community thing?
Well, thank you. I'm still trying to figure that out, to be quite honest, because it's a multiple, varied answer.
Right.
One, yes, I do try to bring like-minded individuals together. So I do that in different programs. Like I just finished an event, co-hosting an event called Digital Hollywood,
Yeah, I was
where
at
we
that
met.
event.
Where we met.
Yeah, right. So we met at this Digital Hollywood
Exactly.
event here in Los Angeles.
At the Skirball Cultural Center.
Yeah.
And it was just fabulous because what was great about that was inviting a ton of educators, as well as a partner of mine, Victor Harwood, who's the CEO of it, brought a ton of individuals from Hollywood.
Wow.
In the tech world,
Right.
and from, entertainment industry, and also some philanthropists. But what was great is that community, which the very essence of the definition of community is that individuals have a like-minded goal.
Right.
And they fellowship.
Right.
And that's what we did. I mean,
Yeah, can you expand on that fellowship idea?
Sure.
Because I want people to know what that is and how that works.
yeah, I know. I've always heard that word, and it always made me think of church or something like that. Because I mean, that's where people go to
Right,
fellowship. But
right.
fellowship is really just not being in the business setting and just doing what we're doing today. Sharing ideas, having your hair down, kind of relaxed,
Yeah.
eating food together. I mean, all of those things are very communal.
Yeah, when you talk about eating food, I'm reminded of my university days where when I was learning German, and we had this thing in German called Stammtisch. And in Stammtisch, what we used to do is like we would sit around a table over food, and we would share ideas and
That's the best.
culture.
That's where the best ideas come from.
Exactly, so I think fellowship is
Yeah.
like looking out for the fellows.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And let me just tell you, I've gotten a lot of fellows
Right.
over food.
Yes, that's perfect.
Let me tell you, because part of this too of my work has always been to really match partnerships.
Right,
So
right.
kind of being the connector between the business world and education.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has brought everybody together has been food. So oftentimes when I have meetings with philanthropists or potential partners, we meet at a restaurant.
Right.
Seriously, I'm not playing. It's because one of the greatest things we want to do
Yes.
is to fellowship.
Right.
And for me, when you asked me the question earlier, what do I do to inspire? Well, I think the inspiration is birthed from us having an authentic, organic conversation.
Wow.
And when you do that, you're not seeking necessarily a partner, you're seeking relationship.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and I think that's what we need more of today, because everything in the world happens through relationships.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a romantic love relationship. It's the connection we share between people. So sometimes even at networking events, what I feel is lacking is that relationship. It's like if I meet you at a networking event, I'm looking for what you have to give me, and you are looking for what I have to give you. And if that is a beneficial connection, then we go ahead to get to know each other. Otherwise, we don't. And that kind of sounds I'm just here to get some benefits or get something.
Yeah,
out of
you know what? And that's what I think I don't like about the networking events,
Yeah.
because people go there with a preconceived notion of business cards and business.
Exactly. And how many business cards, we keep the cards and then we throw them away.
I know. And if somebody finds it, it may be 2 years later, and then they're
Yes.
not going to call you.
Exactly. And sometimes we don't even know who that card belongs to.
No, we don't.
We just see the name and the company.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them on my
Yeah,
desk right
yeah,
now. And I'm
exactly.
trying to figure out, just from the event at
Right,
Digital Hollywood,
right.
trying to put a picture, a face
Like,
to a
who
card.
was this person? Who was this person?
And that's not what that's about.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
I have started to focus on more, and I have over the last 10 years, and I really attribute that to the 300 plus community partnerships I was able to establish.
Wow. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I'm proud of that because they're friends
Right.
with me, so it's real. These are people who are on my phone, and we talk, and we don't even talk about business or community partnerships. We just actually fellowship.
Right.
But out of that comes beauty.
Wow.
out of that comes ideas. And oftentimes, out of that comes opportunities that
Yes.
neither one of us thought about.
Yes. And that is so organic because, when you talk about this connection, like we said, if I have a good connection with you,
Right,
I don't even need your business card. I'll
right,
always remember who
right.
you
Oh,
were
yes,
and how you made me feel. And I think
that's
that
true.
is a very good way to create bonding and connection among people.
And it's inspirational.
Yeah, it is. I'm all about communities and community building because I really feel that, people have different belief systems, people have different ideas, people are so diverse and
Yep.
divided in the world. So if we can make communities and bring them together on a common platform, it just opens up this huge dimension of
Right.
possibilities,
Well, you're speaking my language because this is the very same truth I try to bring to educators, my
Right.
colleagues.
Yes.
As a community engagement coach, a lot of people ask me, what are the tricks that you use? What's the
Yeah.
formula? And really, to be quite honest, it is about building and chasing relationships, number one.
Right.
Number two, it's about following up with people too, because
Right.
oftentimes
Right.
we forget to do that. And then another really big push is having the mindset that I'm valued in this relationship.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's not just about you getting to know this philanthropist and, trying to see what they could do for you. That's not what that's about.
Exactly.
It is about how can we both win?
Right.
Because it's work, the work of education, to be quite honest, is too hard to do by itself. We've
Right.
tried for
Right.
years and we failed for years.
Right.
What I am trying to help instill in people's minds is that we actually need the community.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is we don't always know the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
So one of the things that I always suggest is get out, get your tennis shoes on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
start walking the community,
Right.
go door to door. I can't tell you how many blocks I've walked
Wow.
with some of my staff. I would say, listen, where are we going today? They're like, where are we going? I'm like, we're getting ready to go in the community. To do what? To go knock on doors. They're like, what are we going to say? And so we actually have to have a conversation about what is our common language.
Right.
Because really, what we're going to say is we're here. We're in the community. I'm Dr. Jackie. You want to hear what I say?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Of
So when I
course.
go, let's just pretend.
Because when you go door to door, people
Yeah.
will think this is a salesman.
Well, I already get that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
right.
I have to automatically put a smile on, but not the sales smiley.
Right,
There's a sales
right.
smiley that's kind of, you don't want to do that. You really want to be as authentic as possible. So I kind of shy away from giving everybody a script.
Yeah. That's
People-
good.
I don't
so
like
people
that.
will be authentic
Exactly.
in their communication and conversation.
Well, because the whole point is that people want to know who you are.
Yes.
I always say if you're taking up real estate, you owe the community to know who you are.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You got a parking space, you got a building, you're taking up street space. They need to know you.
Exactly.
And they need to know you more than your brand, your logo, your commercial, your Twitter, whatever. They need to know you authentically.
Personally, also.
Personally.
Yes.
So you want to hear it?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do the role play.
All right,
Yeah.
you do the role play. So you're the beautiful lady who's behind the door.
Okay.
I don't know you're beautiful
Okay.
though. I don't know. I mean, seriously, I don't know. I don't know
That's
anything
fine.
about you. I don't know if you're a man. I don't know if you're mad. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you're
Wow.
don't like salespeople knocking on your door. So this is true, right?
Yeah.
This
yeah.
goes through the mindset.
Yes.
This is what the fear is that I
Right.
have found out from a
Yes.
lot of individuals I've met. They say, well, I'm not going door knocking because I don't know.
And I am particularly averse towards salesmen. Like, I always am running away from them. So if somebody knocks on my door, I'm like, when is he going to, try to sell
Right,
me something?
right,
you know?
right.
And
You're
I'm
waiting
just
for the drop.
waiting so then I can say, oh, sorry, I don't need it, get lost, kind of thing.
Exactly. No, seriously. And that's okay. It's okay. This is what we need to know. For
Right.
those of us listening,
Yeah.
this is what's going on in the mind of the
Right.
person on the other side.
Yeah.
Because we're taking away some of their time. So
Exactly.
that's the thought. How can I add value really quickly?
Mhm.
So you heard of the 30-second elevator speech.
Yeah.
Okay, throw that out the window.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
hate it.
Oh,
I hate
okay,
it.
okay,
And
good.
I've never been able to come up with one.
Okay, well, I have something. Well, the world is really fast
Right,
now, and it's
right.
become faster.
Exactly.
So 30 seconds, if you think about it, is a very long time. Because if you think about it in time, you got one elevator 2 elevator, 3 elevator. I mean, that's a long time ago. That's long.
Right.
So you start. That's just so much time. People just don't have that kind of time anymore.
Yeah.
So now you want to guess what the new time frame is?
Tell me.
Oh my
5
gosh.
seconds.
Oh,
Like the ads we get on YouTube.
You know what
They're after 5 seconds, you can skip them because within the 5 seconds, they have to capture your attention.
They do. They do. So this is what I've learned, though. This is what I learned because I can't get to the 5 second yet.
Right.
But what I have learned is if you're given 10 seconds, so just hear me out.
Yeah.
Because I'm still at 10
That's
seconds.
still good.
It's still good.
Yeah, because it's not online. It's personal,
Well,
right?
break up the 10 seconds into 2 5s.
2 5.
If you get the first 5, you'll usually get the
next
second.
5.
Got it? Okay,
Yeah.
you guys got that? Yeah. That's just the way. It's very simple because if they can get you or if you can get connected, now this takes some practice. So it does take maybe for those of you who it's not natural, you want to do this at home. And also you want to see what you look like. So look in the
Right.
mirror, have a mirror and look at yourself because often we don't know what we look like.
Yeah.
You know, we're not thinking. And I had to do that. I had to do that because sometimes I'm doing this. You
Right.
notice what I'm doing right now? It's called a frown.
Show it to the audience. Your frown.
That's not a good frown. And
Yeah.
this was something I was doing every day. My husband said, "You're scowling." I was like, "What?" I was speaking at an event,
Yeah.
really nice event,
Right.
Beverly Hills. I was the Toastmaster
Wow.
of a friend of mine who is a
Wow.
major celebrity. Her husband and myself were selected to be her toast. And so he got up, he did his, and I got up and I was like, yes. That's not a good face, you guys. You don't want to do that. Because I didn't even know though.
Right.
I had no idea. I felt like I was being serious. My husband said, "You have a great face." That was a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
Good husband, I'll keep him. However, I needed to learn. So know your face
Right.
and practice looking at your face. Next thing you want to do is within that first 5 seconds, you got to smile and you do need to start thinking about. So this is what I did. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi.
I'm Dr. Jackie. I'm from a school right across the street from you.
Oh, hello, Dr. Jackie. Nice to meet you.
Okay, I know you're busy today. Oh, what's that smelling? Good smell. Oh, by the way, if they're cooking, you want to notice that.
I'm baking some apple pie.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, I won't take you away from your apple pie because I could tell that you make good apple pie. However, I do
That
want
was
to.
just made up.
I know. But did you see how I connected? I like
Yeah,
you, by the way. You're doing good. This is good.
Actually,
Do you notice Can you explain what I just did right there?
Yeah. So when you said I'm Dr. Jackie
Yeah.
from the school nearby, immediately it opened me up to you. Because usually what would happen is the moment I see a salesman, I would know he's trying to sell something.
Right.
But when you say you are Dr. Jackie and you talk about a school, then I know that you are not just here to sell me a product.
Correct.
So I am immediately open
Right.
to listen to you. So I think that starting was good.
And you
then-
didn't see a badge.
Right. I didn't see a badge. That's true.
Okay, a badge is not good.
Yeah.
A badge is like automatic no.
Exactly.
Right,
It's
right.
like this organization is trying to promote itself.
And thank you. And that's the very same thing that happens when you make cold
Right,
calls. And we'll talk
right.
about that too.
Yeah.
Because I had someone on the phone the other day said, "Well, what organization are you from?" Be very careful about labeling,
Right.
whether it's a badge or saying that. But I said I'm from the school because I want to keep this conversation. You're still the
Right,
woman behind the door
right,
right now.
yeah.
I want to keep this conversation as organic and natural and real.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
Yeah.
And
Of
real
course.
as possible.
Right.
So let's continue.
Yeah.
So, okay, the apple pie smells good, and I'm complimenting you on the apple
Yeah,
pie, by the way.
yeah.
Who doesn't like to be complimented
Exactly.
on something that's real? You know, I don't know how long you've been making that pie, but I smelled it and I recognized it. Now, the next part, because I'm still within 5 seconds, whether you believe it or not. I'm actually still in 5 seconds. I'm saying on my school's across the street from you, I just came by to meet you and let you know that we're just out meeting people in the community.
Oh, wow. That's nice. Why don't you come on in, have a seat? And
Oh,
maybe
my-
I will give you a piece of the apple pie.
Oh, well, I'd actually love to. Now, this is the thing. Let's stop right here. If somebody invites you in, go. Now, I know you're saying, why would you do that? Let me tell you, you don't know. Thank you for asking me about the coming in because that's happened to me.
Yeah.
I've had someone run out, give me water.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who just said, "Would you like to come in?" They actually fed my. I usually don't go alone. I bring a couple of people.
Right, right.
Safety is number one, and I've also let the school police know that I was out. Now I don't have them following me because that
Right.
doesn't look good either.
Yeah.
But someone knows that I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing more communal
Yes.
and fellowship
Right.
when someone invites you in their home.
Right. And you know why I did that?
Why?
I will tell you. So, the psychological process, usually I'm very close to strangers. But the reason I invited her to my place is because she said that she is just trying to meet me. And she's from my community. And nowadays, it's so sad because people don't even go and knock at their neighbor's house to say, hey, I'm your neighbor. Would you like to, do something together or get to know each other? Like, you can have an emergency, you can need your neighbor for anything, but people don't do that.
No, they don't. Not
And
anymore,
people are
unfortunately.
caged in their houses and they are like little prisons, and nobody knows even the person across the street.
No.
So when you told me that I just came to say hello, like I just came
That's
to
it.
meet you, and I'm from this community and I'm trying to, make this community, that was enough for me to warm up and ask you to come in. So,
And that's what we want. We want the person to warm up.
exactly.
And so those are good words because oftentimes a new meeting is cold.
Right.
So you're quickly having to move. Now time is not on your side, but
Yeah.
time becomes my friend
Yes.
once I use those words.
Yeah, you can bend reality. That's the thing. Like
Oh, I love that.
sometimes
bend
we
reality.
Yeah, see,
Wow.
you cannot, no matter how good you are, no matter, you may use that same line with someone else and expect and receive a very cold
Yeah.
welcome.
Right.
Right? So we never know what the other person is going to say or how they are going to react. But when I say you can bend reality, it's like you cannot compel reality, but you can coax it.
Right. I
Right?
love that. Yeah, that's true. And if you listen, it's keyword, listen. You want to listen because I could have done this. Once she told me she was baking the apple pie, unfortunately, some people would have ignored that.
Right.
And they would have just said, well, that's nice. However,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here from, I didn't even acknowledge
Yeah.
your pie. Now, let me just tell you, that's an important small piece to remember because it's not all about why I'm coming.
Right.
I'm also coming to what? Meet you.
Yeah.
So I've also learned she's a baker.
Well,
or it could be a possible warmer upper of a pie. I don't know. Whatever it is,
Yes.
I acknowledge what you were doing.
Yeah.
And that's the whole piece about making friends.
Yeah.
So I always say to educators who are in communities and sometimes in very challenged communities where it's not always safe, you can either run from your community
Right.
or you can embrace your
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Now, one of the stories that happened, I'll share a quick story. When I was a principal in a school that wasn't in a safe community, had a chain link fence. Across, we could see a gang meeting.
Wow.
Now, my scholars were so interested in the gang meeting that they were looking through the fence every day during recess and during every time we were out on the playground. I didn't think that was a positive thing for them to see.
Right.
So instead of me, thinking or knowing about embracing communities, I decided to go change my community.
Right.
And I went to the gang meeting.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Against, well, let's talk about that. Against the good advice of my secretary,
Right.
who said, she said what you said. She said, are you going?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to change my community. Listen, I went to the gang meeting and I had the audacity to ask them to move their meeting to maybe another park or another local hotel.
Right.
They laughed at me.
Huh.
Because you know why? First of all, I don't know what made me think that I could ask them to move from their community.
Right.
See, one of the things, yes, it may not have been a positive thing in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
but the piece that I mistook was that this was their community.
Right.
I didn't live there. I
Right.
just worked there.
Yeah.
So how can I make that difference? And I figured it out during that moment when they were laughing at me saying, ma'am, no, we're not going to move. we were here first. It came, I had a download. So sometimes I get a download. It's
Like an intuitive moment, an insight.
Okay, yes, and it did, and it came right there.
Right.
And I said, you know, I have a program called Gentlemen Scholars.
Yeah.
Gentlemen Scholars is a group of young people, boys, that I was trying to help train to be gentlemen by using some of my male teachers. And I said, would you like to come to the meeting? We
Wow.
meet every Tuesday.
Right.
And now my secretary thinks I'm really crazy. She
Wow.
said, not only did you go there, you invited them on campus.
Right. Right.
Well, she said, what are they going to do? I said, I don't know. So sometimes you don't know.
Right.
But I was trying to fellowship.
Exactly, and that might have made them feel immediately like, I'm sure their guards would have gone down a bit when you actually invited them to the
It did.
gentlemen's meeting. So
Yes.
did they come?
They came.
No way!
Yes, they
did.
did. They came. Oh my gosh, this is like
Again.
I know.
Oh my!
And I did something.
You're amazing.
No, well, thank you. I decided. I could not have choreographed this better. I went down the street and I enrolled a restaurant. It was a restaurant called Three Bears Burgers.
Right.
And I said, I need some burgers for these guys. I said, I want to feed them for coming over. So the restaurant, they gave us the burgers. They said sponsored it. They did. They became a partner.
Wow.
I said to them what I was doing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Sometimes you got to share. Be open about what you're doing.
Right.
Because you don't know who else could be a part of that success story.
Yes,
and they're a part of that success story because they said, we will not charge you for these burgers and fries.
Right.
So they not only made burgers, they came and brought the grill and did it right there.
Right. Oh my God.
So now they fed all of the gangsters and all of my gentlemen scholars. Now, again, why were they there?
Yeah.
So I said to them, can you share your story?
You asked the gangsters.
I did.
You are amazing.
Well,
what happened?
Let me tell you, the best, I don't know, I can't even tell you how emotional. Tears were coming down. Stories were being told. Jaws were dropping because hearing their stories that they didn't plan on becoming gangsters.
Right.
There were a couple that said, we never planned on being a gangster, but this was the community I had to survive in. My mother lives across the street. I'm walking through this park. If I was going to survive, I had to be a part of this. See, so there was a lot I had to learn, but they also shared the story to the young gentlemen scholars. Try not to do it.
Right.
They said, if I could have had a different choice, I would have chosen something different. But the greatest thing about the story is that one of those gangsters went back to college.
Wow. This is also part of my work because when you opened these people up, you invited them to a gentleman's scholars meeting. Mm-hmm. Something in these men opened up to say, yeah, we can also be gentlemen. We don't have to be gangsters.
Right.
And then you asked them to share their stories. I think that's the best thing you did. Because it immediately, you gave them the gift of being heard and you gave them the gift of being seen. And in that moment, they felt that they were important, that they had some way, their stories were not all useless.
No. Right.
And in that moment, them as people, they got heard among educated gentlemen, where they felt like they were part of the community. I think that's the best story that you've told. Like, I didn't know that. And I am really proud of you that you do this kind of work. And you actually turned every gangster in that gang into gentlemen without even knowing it.
Gosh.
I mean, whether they continue with that lifestyle after that meeting is irrelevant. But in that meeting, something in their hearts shifted. And that is important. And that is where you impacted in a powerful way. And I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
I mean, you had the courage to go and speak to them. Not only that, you brought them to your community and you gave them a voice. I think that is incredible. You should write a book on that.
Well, you know what? I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget that the lessons I learned, as far as knowing that I can't, it's not my job to change a community.
Right, right.
It is my job to impact
And you can
a
influence
community.
them.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
so
didn't
true.
change them, but you influenced
Well,
them.
and I didn't even know.
And you fed them. Like, that's amazing.
Well, you know what? Going back to food.
Who feeds people? Like here,
Right.
you know, it's hard. Like if you go to someone's house, people don't even offer you water. Like forget food. And you went and invited these gangsters to your community and you gave them free food. Then you asked them to share their stories.
And it was good food, too.
I mean, yeah. And that is a magical moment that you
It was a
created
magical
for their,
moment.
for them.
And it
Yeah.
was a magical moment for the gentlemen scholars.
Right.
Because they did not know those stories.
Yeah.
They just been looking through the gate chain link fence and assuming that they were just cool guys or bad guys, whatever.
Yeah.
The point was, everybody has a story.
Yes.
And this didn't happen purposefully, I thought.
Right.
It really all happened by accident,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I'm concerned. I don't know, it could have been purposeful. But what was happened is that I learned something. And they also learned that now let me just tell you, this went on for a few years.
Wow. And you continued to invite them to your events and stuff.
Well, it grew. We connected also with the Boys and Girls Club next door. They came to those community meetings. So this community empowerment, then there was another gang that was on the other corner who rode a motorcycle. It was a motorcycle
Right.
gang. They came on.
Right.
So and then we did a march around the community.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was huge. It was just great. So we just felt like we all kind of were meeting, and then we all said, you know what? We want the entire community to feel this. So one day we went, the students, the parents, we just called it a community day.
Right.
And the motorcycles were out there. I rode on the back of one. We were just all, and the kids had signs, and the signs said all kinds of things like, let's take back our community and peace and just positive things. And we marched around the community. But let me just tell you, I will never forget that day. Because, and also a Walmart store and they were there because they were in the community.
They were sponsoring it.
Yeah, well, we asked them to come march with us.
Wow.
And so
Walmart.
their staff, their shirts, they marched with us too. We asked everybody that we could to march with us because it was about making a louder impact in the community. And let me just tell you, I would recommend that to any educator, any business person, any CEO, anybody who is trying to really do true community engagement. The community needs to see you.
Right.
The community needs to hear you.
Right.
It's only so much community engagement you can do by email.
Yeah. Right.
Or by text, or by, like yesterday, I received something on my door. It was a card. It was like it's a game show.
Yeah.
Right now, and they're trying to get people to watch the game show. So
Right.
they sent a personalized postcard.
Right.
Great idea. However, there's something impersonal about all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's time that we are louder
Right.
in the community.
Yes.
In a way that empowers the community and that it's inclusive. I mean, look, the motorcycle gang was there. Now, let me tell you, the chief of police of our community called me. Says,
Wow.
Dr. Jackie, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You got the gangs there now. All the gangs are together, and they were competing gangsters.
Wow.
So if you know anything about gang life, you don't bring competing gangsters together. But I'm not a gangster, so I didn't know.
That's incredible.
I had no idea. I told the chief of police, I'm not a gangster. I don't know. He said, you're bringing 4 to 5 gangs. He had to call and educate me. He said, you don't do that. He says, now we got to get out the National Guard or everybody. He really got all of his police heightened alert because I was creating a problem.
Right.
But let me
But
share.
I'm sure nobody fought.
Let me tell you, it was not a problem in sight.
Yeah.
We disrupted the thought
Yeah.
and the belief system that there would be violence that day.
Yes.
There was no violence. It was so peaceful. They all became friends. We didn't even talk about gangsters. We talked about,
Imagine there
positivity.
you reduced crime by half.
By half.
Because imagine you brought conflicting gangsters together in a community and you gave them a platform, shared the same platform where they could become friends, share their stories.
And they were the best speakers. Oh, they were the best speakers.
Oh my God.
Oh my
I can't believe you did that.
I can't believe I did it either.
Like, imagine, I mean, everybody fears gangsters. Nobody wants to be near them. And this lady, she is incredible enough and ridiculous enough to go and invite
crazy enough
these gangsters and make them meet on a friendly platform, not
once
on
a
a
week.
competitive platform,
Once
on
a
a
week.
cooperative platform.
Yes, and the similar platform. Now we became one. It just created one.
Yeah, you know, I totally believe in this concept. You know, I always tell people, like, everybody has their individual journeys in life. So you don't really need to compete against anybody. It is more like you cooperate with other people to go forward in your life. And that's what you facilitated that day when you got these competing gangsters together and you brought them on a platform of cooperation, coordination, connection.
All the C's.
Yeah.
You know, and collaboration as well.
Exactly.
And not only that, too, I just want to just add, I can't forget this, because I think it also gave us purpose.
Wow. It definitely did.
It did.
And meaning.
And meaning, because they came every Tuesday. And
all the competing gangs.
All of them, every Tuesday. They really were serious about this. They came every Tuesday. They didn't miss a Tuesday. And the people didn't miss giving us burgers every week. And I was there for 5 years, and it continued. And,
wow, so you actually stopped all those gang crimes, because if competing gangs are coming every Tuesday and sharing their stories and speaking, imagine gangsters coming and becoming speakers at your community event. I mean, how cool is that? Wow, hats off to you.
Well,
like, the work that you do is great.
And I didn't even plan on telling you that.
I know. So that thing came up so spontaneously. And you know what I love the most about these conversations, because they are so spontaneous, these real true experiences of our lives come up.
Yeah.
And you know, I really appreciate that you shared that story, because as you said, you didn't plan on it and it came out, and it came out at the right time, because this is something more people need to hear. You know, nobody is born bad. You know, circumstances, situations can make them gang leaders or, you know, criminals or drug addicts, you know, but they are not essentially bad people. They don't deserve to be punished. They deserve to be heard.
I agree.
They deserve to be seen, and they deserve to be validated for the difficult journeys that they are going through, that nobody gives them that acceptance and validation that you gave them. You gave them a very priceless gift, a gift of the soul.
Well, I appreciate that, because I didn't see it like that. I didn't even know. I didn't even realize it. I believe I was also in survival mode. You know, I'm trying to make sure my school was safe. You know, and
you brought these gangs to students. Like, you call
which probably would not be something someone would recommend to me to do.
Yeah, you call them scholars. You know, I love that, instead of students. But these are actually school students, right?
Yes.
And you brought gangsters to school students, and you created a community among them. How cool is that? I don't know anybody who has done that. So I'm really proud of you, you know, what you did. So moving on from the community building thing, I know you are an expert at it. You give talks about it, you know, not only here, but also in other countries. And you are going to Australia to do
yes, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and good luck with that.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little more about passions, like dreams. I know that you are also very passionate about art and creating through art. And you know, my life journey, like, I was a computer student. I
Hmm.
graduated in computer science,
Right.
and although I had an aptitude for it, but I had no interest in it,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to do the regular kind of job. And eventually, I started to, Uh, find out what I really want to do. And it took me many years to figure that out. And
Right.
eventually I became an artist.
Hmm.
And I dance, I write, I create, I work in films, So that is something beautiful where you are creating with your consciousness and you are creating art, because in art there is no limit of expression, and we always want to express ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So I want you to talk a little bit about how you help people pursue their dreams and through art.
Yes. Well, first of all, this is what I believe about art. I think art is everywhere. I am an artist. I got it from I'm an oil paint artist.
Wow.
And my uncle is a famous black oil paint artist.
Right.
And I certainly believe those things go through also sometime through the family. My son is an artist as well. And I don't believe, especially in education, we don't spend enough time allowing art to
Right.
take place because it's a form of expression
Yeah.
and creativity and beauty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's necessary.
Right.
It's necessary. I think that if we don't do it, I believe that we're actually paying the price for that.
Yeah, if we don't do it, I think we starve an entire aspect of ourselves,
Yeah.
and then that part of us, creative thinking, creating,
Yeah.
cannot develop.
Well, I think
So,
we're half dead.
Yeah, also
If we
in
don't-
educational structures,
Yeah.
with so much pressure to perform,
Yes.
and these exams that we have to take.
Oh, please
and,
don't talk about that. Oh,
Yeah.
There's too much going on with
and,
that.
and all this
Yeah.
educational system, they are so rigorous,
Yeah.
and facilitating art in that. Of course, they have art classes, they have art modules, but I'm not talking about just an art class,
Right.
or an art module or a dance class in a 50-hour curriculum per week or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
I'm talking about using art in a deeper way, where you make it as a lifestyle,
Right.
and you use art to even facilitate your education.
Right. Right.
So-
Right. Well, when I was a principal, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And I was a principal in a very, very under-resourced community. It was called Compton, California. If you've ever heard of Compton. And,
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so it certainly has some really nice homes as well, but it also has some challenges.
Right.
And so working in a school district there in that community, we didn't have the luxury of having a lot of art.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we certainly couldn't have an art teacher. We didn't have that kind of money.
Right.
And so that's where partnerships grew out of the
Right.
arts for me. And so I started reaching out to the Grammys, and I started reaching out to
You were on the Ellen show, right?
yeah, the Ellen show as well.
Isn't she amazing?
Oh my gosh, that was probably the most amazing thing that ever happened to me, because after being on the Ellen show, I got calls from everywhere, all over the world. And we were able to work with so many wonderful partners that helped bring art to our school.
Right.
Talking about it in a deeper way, we had art, music, dance, theater, and photography for every single student 5 days a week.
And you facilitated that by reaching out to all these sponsors who became your partners.
Absolutely.
And who paid the money so you could get this art education into your school
For every single one of our scholars.
for all your students. That is so amazing.
And it wasn't just after
And you
school.
didn't have the resources to do it.
No.
You just had the vision.
Just at the vision. In fact, we put the vision on the outside of the wall. We painted it. My school was called Foster Elementary School.
Right.
And I said, it's just too political to change a school name.
Right.
But we can certainly add a motto underneath it. So we put fostering learning through the arts.
Right. Right.
And once we made that vision known,
Mhm.
not only was it me reaching out to different partners and businesses and
Right.
philanthropists,
Right.
they were telling each other.
Yeah.
So one would tell others. Ellen DeGeneres met me because someone else met me speaking about this at an event And he shared that with her, and next thing you know, I was on her show. But that's how it happens. That's part of the fellowship of community.
Right.
So going back to dreams, it was our dream to bring in the arts.
Mm.
And I think that dream, if said massively, somebody will hear you.
Yeah. The right people
They're right.
will hear you.
That's true.
Even if the mass is hearing you, there is one right match for you there.
Somebody will hear
who will
you.
Be the perfect match to what you're doing, and they will help you manifest it.
And they have the same vision.
Exactly.
Now they say, I would love to see arts in the schools. So then we got another partner. I think it was City Hearts that said we would love to bring theater and photography.
Right.
And then I started working with Education Through Music Los Angeles, and they brought instruments, and they introduced us to individuals like, you see this wonderful painting on my wall. It was by Hans Zimmerman, and he is a great composer. And
Hans Zimmerman.
yes,
It's a German name. Right?
Yes, that's true. Yes, true. And so this is out of 150. This is a 36th painting that was actually given to me for this work that we were doing, bringing in the arts. I mean, I will always treasure that because, for someone who really does this every day for a living, honored us for bringing it in for our scholars so that they can be exposed to the arts. And not only were they doing it at the school, we were taking them to shows. We partnered with the LA Philharmonic to be able to bring them and expose to youth doing more music and just understanding that this was accessible for them too.
Right.
So for me, partnerships, community engagement provides two things. One, accessibility.
Right.
And second, opportunities.
Right.
And without those two, it's very difficult to move forward.
Yes.
It is.
So you facilitated the opportunity
Yes.
for your students, for your scholars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so cool.
And I felt like that was my mission.
Yeah.
Like every day. Like
Yeah.
that was my mission. No matter what I did, that if I don't who will do it if I didn't do it? Who would get on the phone call, as I talked about the cold calling?
Yes.
So it meant me actually making a schedule for myself.
Right.
And saying, for 20 minutes I'm going to call.
Yeah.
I'm going to call somebody and say, hi, how are you? My name is Dr. Jackie, and hopefully I don't get hung up on. I'm serious.
Yeah.
This was the stuff I did. I'm telling you, it's not even, it's just real stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, I don't have time for that. This is what I say to that. Then what do you have time for?
That's a good one. Tell us about the Why Not
Okay,
project.
thank you. Oh, well, thank you for asking about the Why Not Incubator is the name of my company. And that was birthed out of really a mantra. Every day as a principal, one of the things that I did, I felt was important, was to kind of going back to your work. It was building a mindset in our scholars. And so every morning we would be out, all 900 kids with me, all 900. And we would say rules and all the kinds of things that I want them to remember. But I always said, why not? Why not? In other words, why not you?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not us?
Yeah.
And
if he can do it, why not me? Right?
Exactly.
If you can do it, why not her? It's a good way. It's just when you say why not, it opens you up to so many possibilities.
Oh my gosh.
Just those two
It
words
is.
speak so much. That's a very cool name for your project, for your work that you're doing, and I'm so proud that you're doing this work, and I'm honored to have met you here in Los Angeles.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to meet you, because I believe, as I said earlier before, a lot of what you talk about and what you're doing with just a person being present.
Yes.
Really aligns to, because oftentimes when you're in under-resourced communities, you don't feel present.
Yeah.
You feel invisible.
Yeah.
You don't feel recognized or acknowledged.
Yes. And that creates a lot of psychological problems.
Oh my gosh. I believe you.
Yeah. So I always try to do that. When I meet someone, I want to have a conversation with that person, like a heart-to-heart conversation where both are present. I don't always get that, because sometimes I lose the other person if they are not so used to having these deep conversations. They can switch off, or they can cut the conversation, snap out of it. But I believe that when two people, two strangers come together and they can connect at a heart to heart level, have a soul to soul conversation, real magic can happen.
I like that.
Yeah,
Real
I
magic.
think we can end this conversation with that, you know.
I think that's a great place.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being on my channel and for
Thank you.
sharing
Thank
your
you. Thank
amazing
you.
story with my audience. And I really wish you great luck with your
Thank you.
endeavors. And if you can tell our audience a little more about how they can reach you, what is your website and what is the new project or the new book that you're working on, so
Oh,
they
thank
can
you.
find you there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You can certainly reach me and on my website, which is the Why Not Incubator at gmail.com. I'm sorry, that is my email, but you can go to the whynotincubator.com. And on that website shares my speaking opportunities and engagements, as well as the coaching that I also am providing individuals. And the next big project that I'm working on, which is just a labor of love, is a handbook, a book, really a how-to guide for other individuals and who either are from different fields of work who really want to engage your community. So it really is a wonderful, I hope that it becomes a resource for individuals who say, how do I do this? How do I engage my community? How do I empower my community? What are some things that I have to do differently? And also some lessons that I have learned are in that book that will share some pitfalls as well, because there's some side effects to all of this work. You know, it's not all great. Sometimes there's some issues that come that I help and hope to have helped people to gather and navigate so that they don't make those same mistakes, but also can learn from them. So it's exciting. Please look that out. It will be published in 2020.
Yay! So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks again, and I hope to connect with you again in the near future.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
That was a great talk.
Oh.